Well, hi there. So a couple of days ago I posted a video about motorcycle dealers taking the joy out of buying a motorbike since 1886 for 1 star, where the only thing luxury is the price. Now that video's done quite well for my little channel, so everyone that's liked it or commented on it and watched it, I really appreciate that. Good or bad comments, frankly, but I do appreciate people getting involved with it. But it did get a lot of comments, so I thought I would do another your comments answered bit. I won't do all the comments because there are a few of them. I did this with the GSA, the 1300 GSA as well. So I've got some screenshots here on my phone. Before I get into that, what I want to say about this video. The purpose of this video was to say that customer service in general should be better. I talked about coffee, I talked about pastries, I talked about people putting a cloth over their bike and then going, ta-da, there's your bike. They're physical metaphors for the effect of better service. Now I think with more and more bike dealers closing, the need for the current dealers to put more effort into their customer service isn't necessarily there, because people will come anyway. I am surprised by some of the visceral replies I got. I often chuckle to myself when I get a long comment, and I do appreciate people to comment, again, as I said, good or bad, where they sort of, I imagine going, I fucking hate your opinion, this is mine. That does cheer me up. But I appreciate the intent that it's meant in. Now before I get into these, if you could hit subscribe and like, that would be appreciated. So with that, I'm firstly going to show you a definition here. I'll put it into Google. I said, what is a discretionary purchase definition? And it's given me a discretionary purchase definition. Now I kept referring to bikes as luxury items, and many people are going, well, bike's not a luxury item, it's not a Ferrari or a expensive good. And I put luxury in this way that you don't need luxuries, you need necessities. And a discretionary purchase is something you buy after you buy necessities. So I put discretionary purchases and luxuries, in this instance, in the same category. Luxury in terms of need versus value. And because it's a luxury item in that definition, or a discretionary purchase, I do think you should have a better environment and a better customer experience from the dealerships that remain. That does include better coffee. Anyway, it says here, discretionary purchases are non-essential expenses that people or businesses choose to incur rather than needing to, i.e. buying a motorbike. They are also known as wants, buying a motorbike, as opposed to needs, which is why I have 2.5 motorbikes. I don't need them. And it goes, here are some discretionary purchases, examples of purchases. And the second one is automobiles. A motorcycle is a version of an automobile, I guess, in some form. So I hope that's cleared that up for people that got very fucking angry about my use of the word luxury. Anyway, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here that I'll talk through. I forgot to get the username off this chap. Anyway, so he goes, I agree, most are a bit lazy. I encountered what felt like a take or leave it attitude when I tried to buy a KTM 690 from 2 out of 3 dealers. So, people are still seeing, it's not just me that's seeing that the customer service isn't there, and this chap here, and I'll try to get his name when I go to edit this, and I'll pop it on the screen somewhere. But yeah, he's getting the same experience as that I feel. So at least I'm not alone by the count of 1. Next we have here Justin Carter, 2224. 100% agree with everything you say. I've been selling all my life, and you're right, these dealerships are lazy and cannot be bothered to build a relationship with their customers, and the bikes are boxed. If you cannot get it boxed in, you cannot get close to them, and it always feels a big ask to get access. It certainly does in some places. The bikes are on top of each other and you kind of feel like you're in the way. I agree with him too. Which, from a customer purchasing experience, the one thing I've often said in business is you need to reduce the gap of the purchase between the person buying the thing and the thing they're buying. You need to reduce that gap, either physically or metaphorically. It's got to be a least amount of hurdles of getting to that purchase as possible. Now, if you've seen a bike you like and it's crammed in, or the shitty service, what you're doing is you're widening that gap for the transaction. I'm sure some of you will argue with that bit as well. Awesome. Anyway, At Hood Monster 1, he said, sounds as if you have way more money than any biker I know. I don't, Hood Monster 1, but thank you very much. I just prioritise possibly the wrong things in my life. Ask my wife. She'll probably agree. Now this one is the most interesting comment actually. It's a bloody long one. I won't read it all, but I will leave it on the screen for a bit. And it is Buster Rabbit. Sorry, but you're talking absolute rubbish. Bikes are not a luxury item. They are discretionary purchases. Well, I think we've covered that. Not about value, so he's mentioned Ferraris and Porsche against the new GS. Absolutely right. When you're spending 200 grand on a car, you should probably expect a decent coffee. And that's the point, I think. It shouldn't be the value that you expect a decent coffee. We're of a society now, and particularly in the motorbike world where it's all coffee shops, that you shouldn't have to spend 200 grand to get a decent cup of coffee, whether you fucking want it or not. It should be available and presented in a way that is representative of a relatively civilized establishment. Anyway, all these glass palaces and their free coffees need to be paid for. Absolutely, it's just economics. I totally agree. And that's why family-owned dealers have all but disappeared. They have, but I do know Fraser's of Gloucester. That's a family business. I believe Bridge in Exeter. That's an independent that provide very good service with a cafe. He says, you mentioned Ford and Citroen. How many of those dealers give you free coffee and pastries? That's referring to when I said Cotswold BMW, they have a barista station with pastries. No, Ford and Citroen aren't. And there is a gap there. But again, I don't think there should be. Just because you're buying a Ford or buying a Citroen versus buying a BMW, there should be a level of expected customer service. And the passing on of decent coffee, or the washing of the pots actually once people have had their coffee, I think these businesses are big enough, I reckon, to give a better customer buying experience. I don't think that's an unreasonable ask. On the subject of, I think, motorbike dealerships closing at the rate they are, is there not a case to say there were too many dealerships? The pie isn't that big. So if the pie is a certain size and you open a load of people selling bikes, then there's still only the certain amount of people buying bikes. I don't know. He says, you also complain about greasy spoon cafes and bike dealers. How many of your lovely Porsche or Ferrari dealers have cafes? Surely restaurants? None. I don't disagree. But why is it a greasy spoon? It doesn't need to be a greasy spoon. You can still have nice food if you're going to have a cafe. I'd much rather go to Baffle House, for example, for breakfast, a motorbike place, than I would Farrell's for breakfast. It's better value and better food. I'm sure people have got their own examples to call me out or suggest I'm a cunt for thinking this, or their own ones to support it, and that's fine. I don't mind. And lastly, he says, wake up and smell the coffee. I have smelt the coffee, and I believe that it is not an unreasonable expectation for people purchasing a discretionary thing, a luxury, to expect a level of consistent service. I don't think that's unreasonable. And if you do think it's unreasonable and you go, I fucking hate coffee at dealerships, don't fucking drink it. That's fine. But it should be there. These people should be vying for our business. We go back to the same dealers again and again. How many times? Because it's convenient, not because it's necessarily any good. I know Barnstormer is meant to be a great dealership for BMW. I've never been there. I'd love to go there, but I'm going to buy for Dick Lovett. I don't get band service from Dick Lovett, but I've heard Barnstormer's exceptional. But it's fucking miles away. Maybe I'm in the wrong there, I don't know. So, again, thank you to everybody that commented. Thanks to everybody that liked and shared it and watched it. Keep the comments coming in. If you could hit subscribe, that would be awesome. And again, these are just my opinions. I am commenting on all this stuff as my official position as some bloke with time on his hands. And the observations I make aren't just mine that I pulled out my ass. They are hopefully, as we've seen some of these comments here, and it was probably a 50-50 split between positive and negative comments. Which is perfect, because my opinion is my opinion, it don't make it right. And if someone says you're full of shit, they're also right too. Because in their world I am. Anyway, cheers.